Previously on Backpacker Diaries.
Like an old friend, these heavier boots here. I ended up doing a slack pack over Mount Musalak. A lot of heavy duty rocks and roots. Managed to scrape up my leg, managed to bust up my pole a little bit. This qualifies as steep all right. There's been a few doozies that need to go on hands and knees without poles. Made it up and over South Kinsman. Got to cross over the other 4,000 foot peak. Today's July 30th, and I enjoyed a night at the Hiker Hostel in Lancaster last night. I want to send a special thank you shout out to Jeremiah and Elizabeth and the crew there for taking good care of us. Got to reconnect with Action Jackson, Yes Siree Bob, and a variety of other thru hiker buddies, including Just Dave and Crazy Tree. You guys have anything to add?
No, just glad to be here.
Glad to be here and see you up the trail.
So I'm getting back on at Crawford Notch now. These two guys came off of Pinkham Notch, so they're gonna maybe take a zero or get back on the trail tomorrow.
Take at least the rest of the day, yeah.
In any case, I'm planning to at least get to the Mitzvah Hut area today, and perhaps a little further, but I'm gonna take my sweet time through the whites here and see how we go. Today's July 31st, 2017. I made it up here to the Newman tent site, which is right next to the Mitzvah Hut. For easy water sourcing, they've got water on tap there, which is a nice convenience for tent camping for sure. I shared this platform that you see behind me with Sassafras last night, and he's already well down the trail. He may even be to the Lake of the Clouds hut by now. The campsite host, Bree, was nice enough to stick the through hikers and section hikers like ourselves at the end of this dead-end road here where there's these two smaller tent platforms. And yeah, this is a typical platform that you'll see in a heavy use area here in the White Mountains, especially in those campsites that are run by the AMC, the Appalachian Mountain Club. Enjoyed some sweeping views on the way up here yesterday at a Crawford Notch, especially near Mount Webster as well as Mount Jackson. And I'm getting ever closer to Mount Washington as well. This morning I had a bit of a fright when I went to the bear box. My food and stove were missing. They were all bundled up in this black cinch sack that I should have had labeled, and I'll be putting a label on it now. But apparently a group of kids that left early, around 4 a.m., they gathered up a bunch of food bags without really examining very well which ones were theirs and which ones were not. I alerted the caretaker. She was about to call up to the next hut, the Lake of the Clouds hut, that these kids would be passing. Basically, within the time that I woke her up and came back down, one of the kids in that group had returned the bag with the stove and everything. So Apparently they got down the trail, they discovered that they had accidentally taken the food bag that I left in there. And yeah, it was back in the bear box before, say, 6 a.m. or so. Lesson learned: when camping in a heavy use area like this, it's best practice to put a label on your bag, because a lot of these bags look the same. The second lesson to be learned is to make doubly sure that it's your bag that you're taking before you leave, because you could really be screwing someone out of their food and equipment, of course, if you're taking off with their stuff. I'm planning to go the 5 miles up to Lake of the Clouds hut and hopefully further. Weather's looking good for today, and we'll see how I go. Well, I did make it up to Lake of the Clouds hut after summiting Eisenhower and Monroe, and showed up around 2 o'clock and was able to get the work stay for tonight. Thunder and lightning storm rolled in around 4:30 or so, which was kind of exciting. Just kind of hanging out and relaxing until the dinner goes on at around 8, then we do some cleanup at 8:30, and yeah, get to roll out our sleeping pads after the paying guests clear out of the dining room. I imagine that there will be a large group of backpackers wanting to seek refuge in Lake of the Clouds hut. They're not really able to turn backpackers away that make it this far. There's not really any other option for camping or sheltering until the other side of the ridge here beyond Jefferson. So we'll see how we go. It's where backpackers can come and sleep if they're not doing the work stay. And so that's actually not as bad as I expected. It does smell fairly moldy, but it does have a window, as you can see. So it's not exactly as scary as a dungeon, but there's room for 6 people to sleep. I've heard that the boards here are a little bit, yeah, they are a bit damp. So maybe it's a bit like a dungeon in that respect, on top of the moldiness. But I already got one person preparing to enjoy the accommodation tonight. Today is August 1st, 2017. I decided to go ahead and push up to the summit of Mount Washington. Hopefully I can beat the crowds, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Kind of exiting a crowded scene at the Lake of the Clouds hut for what is probably a much more crowded scene up there at Mount Washington. I learned that the Crawford path that we followed to get here from the Eisenhower and Monroe peaks is in fact the oldest continuously used hiking trail here, having been first blazed back in 1819 by Crawford and his son Ethan. Mount Washington is typically shrouded in a cloud of fog. Quite a treat to be summiting on a day like this. There's one of at least 3 cogway trains that services the summit of Mount Washington, a service that originally started, I believe, back in the 1860s, servicing what is apparently the oldest continuous tourist attraction here in the United States. And still going strong, as evidenced by the crowds up there at the top of Mount Washington. And we're looking towards Mount Jefferson and a couple of other peaks. That's where I'll be going today, on my way to the Madison Spring Hut. And here's the rest of the panorama.
From the highways, mountains, to the lowly valley plains, I hear a song ringing, and it makes me feel like singing, 'cause I can feel it like whiskey in my veins. Oh, I found my life, I found my place in my greatest escape.
I just crossed over the cogway track on the AT, and buddy that I met last night's about to do the same.
I left my home in Waxhaw, looking for a brighter sun. Found it in the canyon where my journey's just begun. I know that I will be here till my final setting sun. I found my life, found my way. Oh, my journey's just begun.
A choo-choo train, what fun.
How many roads must I walk down before I can find my way home? How many times can I know what I need before the world can leave me alone? It won't leave me alone.
Today is August 2nd, 2017. I made it up and over Mount Washington and Mount Jefferson. I did stop by the Madison Spring Hut and ended up tent camping a little bit below that Madison Spring Hut. Glad that I took my time. I only went maybe 8 miles to get from Lake of the Clouds to here, but all of the uneven rocky terrain is definitely exhausting. I heard about another thru hiker that was rushing to make it all the way down to Pinkham Gap, and he ended up twisting his knee. Hope Kentucky Straight can get back on the trail soon. In any case, Pinkham Notch is where I'm planning to go today. First, I'll stop in at the Madison Spring Hut, then make the summit of Mount Madison on my way down the AT, past the Osgood tent site and on to Pinkham Notch to stay tonight in Lancaster again before hopefully taking on the Wildcats starting tomorrow morning. Been very lucky with the weather here these last few days. There is some storminess in the forecast for later this afternoon, so plan to get off the trail before that hits, and we'll see how I go.
From the high western sky to the depths of my mind, found my strength, I found my soul. I said I got it right this time. If you wanna follow me to Jordan, you can get right in line. You can pave a way that is your own. Oh, either way, you'll be just fine. Either way, you'll be just fine.
Just looking at the summit of Mount Washington here. And at first I thought maybe there was a car on fire or something. But it turns out that it's just that red cogway train belching out smoke. Looks like it's business as usual. The scenery above tree line here in the presidentials these last couple days has really been outstanding, but I gotta say, it's a real treat to be back below tree line after such uneven rocky terrain. I'm also so grateful for the good weather that I've had after spotting the dark gray clouds sweeping in perhaps earlier than originally forecast. That was quite a dump of rain there. Just left the Osgood tent site. Relieved that I'm not up on top of the ridge right now above tree line.
Just because it's dark, don't mean it's night. Just because it shines, don't mean that it's light. Just because it's true, don't mean that it's right. No, no. Just because the clouds move in, the rain falls down, fire still burns inside.
On the next Backpacker Diaries.
Just making my way up the Wildcat range here. Yeah, this counts as steep. A little more like rock climbing than hiking, really. What do you think, Toad? So I'm just gonna be savoring my last few days on the trail.